Hey there, fellow entrepreneur. For the first time ever, I'm offering a massive fall 2024 special for my signature strategy calls. Lock in your success with quarterly planning sessions scheduled for January, April, July, and October of 2025. Plus, get a free Q4 strategy call this year, all for just $650. That's 5 90-minute sessions of focused strategy and accountability at $225 off the regular price. Do not wait. This offer will end November 20th, so come on over to beabosscoaching.com to lock in your success plan for 2025. Payment plans are available. Let's make 2025 your breakthrough year. Now on to the show. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Be a Boss Coaching Podcast. I am drinking bubble tea. I love bubble tea. I love it. That's all. There's a place near where I live called Bubble U, and it's so good that I need it sometimes I do it as a dessert. So that's what I'm currently chewing on right now. So excuse my boba chewing. All right. Today I want to talk to you about how to feel less alone in your entrepreneur journey. I want to talk to you about this because sometimes we are okay with doing things alone, but it's hard to differentiate doing things alone versus being lonely. There's a difference. And if you're comfortable with doing things alone, like me, I love doing things alone. I enjoy doing my podcasts alone. I mean, of course, I love interviews. That's not what I mean, like interviewing other people. But what I mean is in terms of literally working, editing my podcast, creating content, working on my website or whatever, I don't mind doing things alone. I can stay home. I don't need coworkers to be around me all the time. I enjoy it. I'm an introvert. I'm comfortable being alone. I enjoy it very much. But I don't enjoy being lonely, especially not in my entrepreneur journey. And I want to remind you of the differences between being okay with doing things alone and being lonely in your entrepreneurship journey. They're not the same. One of the examples that I can give you is when I was in high school. Well, I was in middle school. In 8th grade, my parents bought their home. And it wasn't too far. It was actually maybe 5 miles from where we were living, where they bought a new home. And being in 8th grade, I was supposed to go on to high school, right? In the US, after graduating 8th grade, you go on to 9th, and it's officially high school. And I was supposed to go to a high school where the rest of my friends from middle school were going to. Everyone was moving on to the same high school. But being that we had just moved to a new home, my parents had just bought their house, and me moving out of the zip code where I was living to a new zip code, a new area, even though it wasn't that far from where we lived, it changed my school zones, and it changed the high school that I was supposed to go to. So I no longer was going to the high school that I was going to go to with the rest of my friends. I was going to a completely new high school where I didn't know anyone. And I remember thinking how I was going to make new friends. Would I make new friends? I had all these questions, right? But I felt like I had no choice, right? I moved to a new school. I had no choice but to go to this school. And as humans, that is the type of experience that reminds you that no matter how comfortable or how good you are at doing things alone, you still need community. You still need to be part of a group, part of a larger collective. You can't go through high school being alone. I know that people have done that, and that's an experience that a lot of people have, but that's not supposed to happen. That is actually trauma in my experience and in my belief is that's not supposed to happen. But if it does happen, that's trauma, right? So you're not supposed to go through such a momentous time in your life alone. High school, right? Your teen years when you're developing an identity. And I remember going to the school, and for the first week or 2 weeks, I remember trying to figure out where am I supposed to hang out? Who are my people? Who do I go hang out with? Who do I feel comfortable with? I don't know how I did it. I think I do remember my first friend that I met there. Shout out to my friend Gilma. I don't know if she listens, but I'll send her this episode. But I remember just picking her out of all these people and saying, I'm going to be her friend. Let me go talk to her. But I say all of that to say that you might be comfortable being alone, but you shouldn't mistake that for being lonely. So in your entrepreneurship journey, even when it is comfortable, loneliness gets hard. Even when you are comfortable being alone, loneliness gets hard. And we need connection. No matter what, we need connection. We need two-sided relationships. We can't have these parasocial relationships or count on just parasocial relationships in our entrepreneurship journey. And if you don't know what a parasocial relationship is, this is actually something new that I just came across, which I really thought was interesting and I think a good concept to be aware of and know about. A parasocial relationship is a one-sided connection that a person develops with a media figure or fictional character they don't know, such as a celebrity, sports team, or cartoon character. And the person experiencing the parasocial relationship may feel a close connection with the media figure, even though the media figure is unaware of the relationship. So even if we feel a connection to an aspiring person that we would like to get to, or a role model that we really look up to, even if we feel a deep connection to them, but we don't have an actual connection that's a two-sided connection where they also are aware of who we are, we can't rely on just that type of connection. We need two-sided relationships where we can tap into, connect to, relate to, vent to, and in return, we are validated. We feel part of a collective. And so, in order to feel less alone in your entrepreneurship journey, if you are comfortable with being alone, know that you may need to get out of your comfort zone to actually begin to build relationships. You have to make a conscious effort to make new connections, new two-sided connections, and face the fear of any judgment you might fear you might receive or rejection that you might fear you might receive, and learn how to create those coping skills. Learn how to create those coping skills that will help you deal with your actions behind making true, authentic relationships. And you need a support system, right? Your support system could be your partner, a close family, or a close friend that is there to help you through the discomfort of making new connections. One of the things that I feel really grateful for is my partner. And even though it's always really nice to meet people, now it feels comfortable. Now it's sort of second nature to me to go and network and really connect with people. Before it was scary to put myself out there and say, I am a business coach. What kind of business do you have? How can I support and guide you in this process or any challenges that you may have? But that is not a confidence that I had before. Let me tell you, it's totally not a confidence that I had before. There was a time that I couldn't even say I'm a business coach. I'm a business coach. But I'm a business coach. It is so wild to me that that just rolls out of my tongue now. And it's something that I can say to you right here, right now. And I mean, I feel so proud because I've come a long way. But the reason why I'm telling you this is because I want you to come a long way. I want you to get to that point, get to that time where you are like, yeah, I am a business coach. I'm a social media coach. I'm a social media manager. I'm an executive virtual assistant. I am a expert consultant or innovator. I'm thinking about my one of my business besties, Angel, um, who says she's a expert social worker and innovator. Like that is confidence. To say you are an expert, like damn. I have just put on my LinkedIn bio strategy expert. And that was something that I was debating. I'm like, is that something put? Yeah, why not? I do know strategy. I know the fundamentals of strategy. I know what it looks like to put it down on paper and then execute it. What? That's a different level of confidence that I didn't have before. And any fear of judgment or like whatever random dude who comes at me and tells me like, why would you call yourself an expert? What have you done and where have you worked and where are your credentials? Some random dude could come up to me and ask me all those questions. But I'm ready. Like, hey, I may not have the giant roster of clients of people that I've worked with, but I know my shit. So I don't know. I don't know how I came to this point in my life, but having a support system that is there to support you even in your moments of delusion is so important. So make sure that you have a support system. And remember that everyone at some point in their life was afraid of being judged. Even if they're the most confident person now, at one point in their life, they have been afraid of being judged. Everyone is afraid of being judged. Because again, it all comes back to the need of being part of something bigger, to the need of being part of a larger group or collective. We want to feel accepted. And if that is a human basic need, then that means that we're going to fear being judged by others. So the two coincide toward the same goal. The two fears are there for the same purpose. But remember that everyone feels that way. Everyone needs connection and everybody has a fear of being judged. So your fear of being judged is normal. It's rational and there's nothing wrong with you. But knowing those and remembering that is a small step toward that confidence, toward the confidence that you want to feel in your journey as an entrepreneur or whatever you are trying to do. Whether maybe it's simply giving yourself the courage to make a YouTube channel or a podcast. There's a time that was not the case for me. Never in a million years did I ever think that I would be doing a YouTube channel where you see my full on face, right? But here I am. And remember that it just takes a small step. It's just a small step every day. What does a small step look like in the direction of your own confidence? Ask questions surrounding your experience. One thing that helps to create community and build community is sharing your experience. And if you ask questions, does anybody else feel this feeling? I will guarantee you 100% that at least one other person is feeling that way. And that is the genesis of a connection right there. If someone else can relate to your experience or your feelings, that is an authentic connection. And when you finally feel safe to be yourself, express yourself authentically in a group of people in a supportive space, then you can say that you've done the work to not do this alone, to not be lonely in this entrepreneurship journey, and make that conscious effort to make sure that you build community around you. It is tough, I think, especially for those of us who, again, are really in that stage of our lives where we're connected to that fear, connected to the judgment, connected to perfectionism, connected to shame or any sort of stigma that we associate with failure or or simply showing who we are or being vulnerable. There's a lot that can hold us back in those moments and in that fear of all of these things that I just named that leads to doing this alone and to be okay or be comfortable with feeling lonely. Because even though you might be comfortable with doing things alone, you shouldn't be doing things alone. So I hope this was helpful. This was a very quick, I wanted this to be a very quick podcast episode, but I was inspired by this episode because no matter where we are in our journey, I feel really grateful that I've come to this point in my life or in my journey where I can come and be vulnerable and authentic with you, with my audience, with whoever's watching this. But there's a lot of people that are still inside of themselves, that are still dealing with their own whatever on their own. And there's so much that you can open yourself up to, so much community that you can open yourself up to, so much acceptance, so much connection that you can open yourself up to if you take the step forward, make the conscious effort to be a little courageous, to talk about your experience, to be a little vulnerable. And it just takes one moment of you stepping out of your comfort zone to begin to make that connection, to begin to create multiple connections and to move in the direction of your confidence. All right, that's all for me. I hope this was helpful. If you felt called or connected to this episode, or you really want to connect with me, please send me a DM over at Be a Boss Coaching. Come on over to beabosscoaching.com and send me an inquiry via my form, or you can sign up to be part of my newsletter, where you get more content, more blogs, more of my thoughts, my opinions, my own coaching, and my own questions to you that will help you be introspective in your journey as an entrepreneur. All right, y'all, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all soon. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Be a Boss Coaching Podcast. To connect with me and the other featured guests of this podcast, remember to come over to the show notes and visit us at beabosscoaching.com. Remember that you don't have to do this alone. If you have any self-doubt or uncertainties, there's so many places and communities and resources out there for you to tap into. You just need to take action. I can't wait to meet you, and I'll see you in the next episode.